I'm Patricia Mitchell, the president of the Ordway. We are so happy to welcome you to this really momentous occasion, the open house to celebrate our brand new concert hall. But we should first celebrate Brandon Cravallo, our wonderful guitarist. Thank you, Brandon. It was a lovely way to start the day. And soon we will use those to cut that. The concert hall is the exemplar of an incredible partnership. Public-private partnership is such a familiar term. It is the truth when it comes to the Ordway Concert Hall. So it is my great pleasure to welcome now Governor Mark Dayton.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be part of this program today and to pay tribute to all of the people and the organizations who have made this Ordway the phenomenal success that it's been for 30 years and now even more for decades to come. The Ordway family, Sally Ordway Irvine, and the generosity of the Ordway family launched this project in 30 years ago, and it's been at the very soul of downtown St. Paul ever since, and it's spearheaded so many other important projects downtown with the great leadership of your outstanding mayor, Chris Coleman, who's done so much for this city and built so much of the success that surrounds the Ordway. And I'm glad that pay tribute also to the 3M Foundation, to Target Foundation, and the other great Minnesota companies that have supported the Ordway and are continuing to lend their support. And finally, to recognize the state of Minnesota, a $20 million investment. The real champion, Alice Hausman, Representative Hausman, is here. She chaired the House Bonding Committee both in 2010 and 2014. And I also want to pay tribute to Governor Plenty, who signed the major bonding in 2010 to launch the state's participation in this project. So to Patricia Mitchell and all of the really talented leaders who have led this fabulous project for the last time, and it's just an honor to be here, and congratulations to everybody who made it possible.
Thank you, Governor Dayton. And I think we have now Representative Alice Hausman. Somewhere? Alice, come and say hello. Well, all right, give it up for Alice Hausman.
Well, here is always my message about why the state was a partner. Yes, we are very proud to have this in St. Paul, but it is also really Minnesota's Performing Arts Center, and we are proud to have partnered with it.
The Ordway and Minnesota and the arts have no greater champion than Alice Hausman, so thank you for all of us. As Governor Dayton said, we've had many wonderful corporate supporters and sponsors throughout this project. 3M, whose name you will see on the plaza outside, Ecolab, and especially Target. Target, in addition to their very significant contribution to the building campaign, is the platinum sponsor of Rock the Ordway, which starts today. And I'd like to welcome to the podium a board member of the Ordway and the Vice President of Merchandise Finance for Target, Angie Jenks.
Thank you, Patricia. It is truly an honor to be here today for the open house and to celebrate the opening of the new concert hall. Target has a strong history of supporting the arts, and we look forward to witnessing the impact that this new center has on the community at large. Since 1946, Target has given 5% of profits to local communities, which today equals more than $4 million a week. And with its commitment to education, by the end of this year, Target will have invested more than $1 billion in education programs. So Target shares the Ordway's passion for connecting the arts to education. because we believe that the arts are an important tool in helping children learn. It exposes them to diverse traditions, cultures, and points of view. That's why we are a proud sponsor of this celebration and to support each member of the Arts Partnership, the Ordway, the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, the Minnesota Opera, and the Schubert Club. So with that, on behalf of everyone at Target, congratulations and enjoy the open house.
Thank you, Angie, and thank you, Target. The private part of the private partnership, public-private partnership, is represented by so many people. John and Ruth Huss, first among them. And also, and very importantly, by the Ordway family. You'll see, when you see the donor wall, you'll see a long list of the descendants of Lucius Pond Ordway. Lucius Pond Ordway was Sally Ordway Irvin's grandfather, in whose name, from whom the Ordway takes its name. And we're very proud to have today John Ordway to come to the podium and speak on behalf of the family.
Thank you, Patricia. Probably many of you have heard the story. It's not a new story. It's been going around for years of my aunt, Sally Irvin, who allegedly back in the early 1980s wanted to come into town to see a show. And she lived out in White Bear Lake, drove in, and was astounded to find that she couldn't even find a movie theater that was open in St. Paul in the early 80s. This was obviously very disturbing to her, and she vowed to do something about it. And we're all here today because she did do something about it. And we're here to celebrate this beautiful new concert hall, just as we were, or many of us were here, many of you were here 30 years ago in 1985 to celebrate the opening of the original music theater. My family is, or me personally, I'm sorry, is very honored and proud to represent our family at this ribbon cutting ceremony, just as my father represented the family back in 1985 when for the ribbon cutting ceremony of the original music hall. And our family has really enjoyed working with so many other families, individuals, corporations, politicians, just everyone to bring this project together and have this beautiful concert hall here today. A new generation has emerged of family members, community leaders, politicians, again, donors, to take the place of Sally and my father and many of the founders of the original Ordway. But I think if you take a look at that donor wall downstairs, the new donor wall in the concert hall, with all of that extensive list of names, and then you combine that with the incredible success and creation of the Arts Partnership, I think it's pretty clear that the Ordway is well positioned for another 30 years and hopefully many more beyond that. I would give anything to have Sally back here if we could only get her here for the month of March. I would delight in seeing the perplexity on her face as she now has so many entertainment choices in St. Paul. And particularly here at the Ordway. That would really be a delight to see it. And while her real passion was theater, I think she would have been really quite happy with the new concert hall. So on behalf of our family, we want to just salute Sally's vision. Thank everyone here and everyone that's worked on this project for the last 5 to 8 years. It's been a long haul, but we're here to celebrate the finish line and open up this beautiful new concert hall. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And now I'd like to welcome to the podium St. Paul's very own mayor, Chris Coleman.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm struggling to whittle down all the things that I want to say to a reasonable amount of time here this morning. But since Alice was so short, I'm going to take her time in addition to the time that was allotted me. First of all, I want to thank the governor. I want to thank Representative Hausman. I want to thank Senator Dick Cohen for their incredible leadership and support of this project. You may recall, I hope we all understand, that there was another guy named Dayton that was the originator of that 5% club, that was the person that understood that you as a community, as a corporate leadership in your community, you have to get back to your community. And I think one of the pieces that makes this community so rich is that there is a true partnership between our corporate community and their philanthropic side with all of the other things that are happening to build community in the city of St. Paul, in Minneapolis, throughout this region and across the state. And if it wasn't for that spirit of generosity, I don't think that the quality of life that we have here, quite frankly, would exist. So I thank all of you that have been so giving to make this project happen. John and Ruth Huss were mentioned, but they can't be mentioned often enough because they are just too, not only are they just generous to a fault, well, not quite to a fault, but they're two of the loveliest people that I have ever known, and I just want to thank them so much from the bottom of my heart for their support for this project. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the men and women that actually risked their lives to build this facility, because sometimes we forget in the process of this that there actually have to be people up on scaffolding and up in cranes and out in the middle of the winter in freezing temperatures that are actually there to meet the deadline so that last night's gala could go off. We could actually hear music in this hall. And so we are so proud for the incredible work that they did. It is... when Sally Irvin and others, including then Mayor George Latimer, began to dream about this facility on the corner of Rice Park was not the Rice Park that we see today. And I don't recall the exact timing of this, but at one point in its history, the St. Paul Hotel was shuttered. At another point in history, the Landmark Center was slated to be torn down. And if those two things had continued, if the Landmark Center had been torn down, if the hotel had remained closed, if this facility hadn't been built, imagine what the city of St. Paul would look like right now. The vitality that we see, those many options that John talked about that you can go to, soon to be joined by the other side of the cultural spectrum, a ballpark that will be opening in May. The fact of the matter is, downtown St. Paul is as strong as it's ever been. And when downtown St. Paul is strong, and the governor understands this almost better than anyone I've ever known, when your core cities are strong, when downtown Minneapolis is strong, downtown St. Paul is strong, cities across the state of Minnesota are strong, then you have a strong state. But without that, you cannot have the quality of life that we have in this community. And as I've said on a number of occasions, you can do bricks and mortar projects, you can do light rail lines, you can build up, and you can build edifices. But the fact of the matter, if you don't have arts and culture, artistry and soul at the heart of everything that you do, all of those other bricks and mortar projects are simply kind of hollow. And what sustains a community, what draws people to a community, is not just a building, it's what happens in those buildings. And ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat, because what happens in that hall, what happened last night, what will happen for years to come in that hall, in this hall, and across the city of St. Paul will be nothing short of magical, wonderful, and absolutely exceptional. So for all of you that made it possible, for all of you that are here to just listen and to enjoy the arts and culture in the city of St. Paul, for all of you that support everything that we do, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. St. Paul is heading up in the right direction, and let me just tell you, it begins here in this hall that we stand in. So, I have a quick proclamation that I'd like to read. Whereas since the first day it opened to the public in January of 1985, the Ordway Center for the Performing Arts has helped make downtown St. Paul a premier destination for world-class music, musical theater, opera, and dance performance. And whereas Rock the Ordway, 22 days of opening nights, celebrates the grand opening of the new concert hall at the Ordway with an unprecedented mix of locally, nationally, and internationally renowned artists specifically chosen to showcase the hall's state-of-the-art acoustics. Whereas the arts partners, comprised of the Minnesota Opera, the Ordway Center for the Performing Arts, the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, and the Schubert Club, have joined together to create a national model for cooperation and mutual success. And whereas this acoustically superior, visually stunning performance space will allow the four tenant organizations to better reflect and connect our diverse and vibrant arts community, now therefore I, Christopher Coleman, Mayor of St. Paul, do hereby proclaim Sunday, March 1st, and quite frankly, the whole month of March, to be Rock the Ordway month in the city of St. Paul. Thank you so much.
3, 2, 1.